Hey, what's up guys, this is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we're looking at another Halo product because the game just came out and it's getting more views than normal. Halo, that is. This is the Dark Horse Master Chief statue. It's the Grappleshot statue. This is the standard version with the blue sword. There is, I guess it's at Best Buy, an exclusive version with the orange sword. That one didn't tickle my fancy. I don't know if it costs any more or not, but I just didn't care for the orange sword. It didn't look like as appealing a thing, so I didn't get one. But I believe that's the only difference. I could be wrong, you could check, but I don't know, that's not this. This is the regular version, so that's what we're going to review. It looks pretty cool. There's a lot to like about this thing, and there are a few things that aren't so great, so we're going to talk about all of that. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. Okay, I believe this is technically marketed as a 10-inch statue. Does it say anywhere on here? I don't think it does. Okay, so I think it's a 10-inch statue officially, and it does come in at just shy of 10 inches, so I think that's okay, and that's going to make him about 25 centimeters, right around there. That's including the base and all, and he doesn't articulate or anything, so we don't have to worry about that. Now, before we get into anything else, I do want to make a quick note for the aesthetic, just so I can get the box out of the way. He does appear to be a bit too dark. His green is very dark here, and this is a lot closer to what it looks like in the game. This looks like it's a little bit washed out, but this slightly more yellowish green seems to be more accurate, and that's what most of the other merchandise looks like. He's very dark green here, very like Kelly green, and it looks nice. I don't mind it, other than it isn't quite accurate, but it does look good. So if you like it, cool. If you don't like it because it's not accurate, then that seems like a valid concern. Alright, now before we get into the rest of the review, let's do a quick question of the day. How do you guys feel about the equipment in Halo Infinite? For me, I played through on normal. I didn't use anything but the Grappleshot, except for the one mission with the invisible guy where you wanted to use the threat sensor, and it didn't really help all that much. So, to me, it was cool. The Grappleshot was alright. But to me, for me, I'll stop saying to me, one thing that they needed to do was, rather than take away abilities or equipment in the campaign from multiplayer, I think they should have added some that weren't in multiplayer. Things like the ground pound from Halo 5, that would have been really fun to use in the campaign. Drop out of like a wasp or something and land on a group of bad guys and ground pound. That would have been cool. Armor lock, like all the things that we've seen through other Halo games that didn't really work as well in multiplayer would have worked phenomenally in the Infinite campaign. Let me know what you guys think about that. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about this. It's a PVC statue. It slides around really nicely on this Formica top. That's not really a feature, but it is kind of fun. It's like air hockey. Okay, so it looks good. There's a decent paint job on here, but there's also some stuff that I don't like. So let's go ahead and just talk about the paint first. We do have a lot of detail paintwork in here. You can see in his undersuit, you have gray and black, and it does look nice. It's well enough painted. Now this thing comes in at like 60, 65 bucks, something like that. So it's not going to be like super top tier quality, but it should be pretty good for a non-articulating PVC item. Like there's nothing special going on here. It shouldn't cost that much, and it doesn't, but it should also look pretty good. So let's go ahead and move up to where we see it need a little bit more detail, and that's the chest area. Now one thing I found interesting is the 117 is actually embossed here. I don't believe it is in the game. I could be wrong, but no other product I've seen has it embossed, and I don't believe it looked like it was raised up in the game either, so that's a little bit weird. You're not necessarily going to notice that, but it does have a clean paint job as a result, so I guess that's okay. You'll notice the other paintwork around the chest is there, but it's a little fuzzy. It's not great. And then you'll probably notice the other thing that I noticed is that it looks like he's got rivets. Like, they're just painted on. I guess it's supposed to be battle damage marks, but it's just around his like breast panels, his breastplate panels. That kills it for me. I hate the way that looks. I actually ordered another one to try to swap them out in hopes that they don't have those, because those silver dots around the chest look ridiculous. I don't like that at all. The gray or black smooshing going around, and then like the silver dry brushing you see around here, that's all fine because he gets a lot of that. He has a lot of that in the game, and it looks good on the rest of his body. The detail work is nice enough. We have some things painted in there, but I don't like those rivets painted onto his chest. That is not okay. And there is a black wash on this figure, which does help it to look nice. It makes the panel lines work, but then you'll notice on his head up here, the black wash on mine is a speckle mess. I just made that word up, and I don't like it. That's not what it should look like, so I'm really hoping the other one I have coming looks a lot better than this, because that looks not good to me at all. I will say the visor's nice. It's not reflective. It does have a layer of clear plastic over some painted like gold metallic, and it looks good enough. I do think chrome is in order for something like this. Vacuum chrome is not that hard, and it does look good on the figure, or would look good on the figure. It looks good on the action figures. We should have it on something like this. If they can put it on a $20 action figure, they can certainly put it on a $65 PVC statue. So that's a little bit of an irritant, but it does look nice. For what it is, it looks good. The Grappleshot, I don't remember it having these red lines on it in the game. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I do not remember that at all. So that's a little bit strange. My Grappleshot came with chunks missing out of it right there and over here. But otherwise it looks okay. It's a little bit crooked, but again, that's not a big deal. But you're not gonna really be able to focus on both at once. But the shot itself is crooked, so that's a little bit weird. And then like there's a lot of stuff that like at first when I took this out of the package, I really liked it. But now that I'm looking at it for the review, I'm noticing things that I don't care for. Like he's leaning really heavily to this side, and you would think that's because he's getting ready to take off with his Grappleshot. Well, sure, but this is a statue and it's made out of plastic, which means not only is this likely to end up sagging down like this, but he's definitely eventually going to lean even more. He's leaning pretty heavily. Do you see that? It's only PVC. PVC does sag. He's got a heavy lean. He should be up more like this. Like that. They should have him leaning farther forward rather than to the side. That way the weight is above the leg rather than like right here. He's definitely got a severe lean to it. That's not great. I mean, it might not be a problem anytime soon. It may never, but it does look like he's gonna lean. He looks like he's already leaning, honestly, in person. I don't know if you guys can tell from that angle, but these are the things that I'm noticing that are not positive. It does have a really nice sculpt. I love the way the statue looks in general, like the chief details, his armor and everything. It looks really nice. I couldn't care less about the base. The whole hexagon thing to me feels like a little bit of a cop-out for them in Infinite. Like, I get that part of the ring is being rebuilt, but they're everywhere, and it seems to me like just a real easy way to fill geometry. But anyway, it looks fine. The silver is silver, and then the rest is just like rock with green airbrushing on it. So it's kind of uninspired, but it doesn't detract from the statue since it lets you focus on the main figure. So that's fine. That's good. Good enough. The sword looks really nice. I'm not sure if it's blue enough, but I think that's okay. It's an energy sword. It's supposed to be made out of energy, and this is plastic, so I'll let it slide. It is transparent. It does have the paintwork on it. There's some shading. It's nicely sculpted. I'm happy with it. And then back here we can look at the AR a little bit on his back. That's very nicely sculpted, very clean, very sharp, lots of detail work. You can see the fire mode switch there with the little red dots. All the little detail work in here is good. And then you do get an ammo counter on there, which it looks like it says 0-0. So I guess he's run out of ammo, so he's using his Grappleshot and his sword, which is interesting because even on normal, I was running out of ammo constantly because I was too lazy to fill my ammo up at the forward operating bases. Anyway, it's a good looking statue. Like, it sounds like I'm talking a lot of bad stuff about it, and there is a lot of stuff wrong with it, but it still looks really cool, and I'm happy to have it. I would say, from my personal opinion, which I assume you care about since you're watching this, if it wasn't for these rivets, I'd be fine with it. Well, I guess this up here too. I don't like this. If it wasn't for those two things, I'd be fine with it. All the other things are just things that I would prefer to be different. But those rivets on the chest really take away from it because he's not supposed to have that. Now you'll notice this pose right here, this stance, looks really good. Because it doesn't look like he's leaning or anything. The Grappleshot is coming toward you and he's looking forward straight at the audience. So that would be how I would recommend you display it. Off on the side, you don't see the sword. It's kind of a non-flattering pose. This leg is really stretched out because it doesn't actually have the forward motion to it that he would actually have, so it looks a little strange. And then from this side, he definitely looks like he's just falling over a little bit. From this side is pretty good, but he's looking away from the audience. So unfortunately for a relatively dynamic statue, I think you only have really one pose that's going to look good on a shelf. And that's that. And then of course as you walk from side to side, you'll get a little bit of this and a little bit of this, so you'll get a nice view of the whole thing. But yeah, I don't know, it's fine. It's for $60-65. I think it's a good buy. This is just not acceptable. The rivets that are painted on there, which aren't supposed to be rivets, I'm sure, it's just bad battle damage. They don't look good. They don't look good. And he's so leaning forward. We'll see. I hope he doesn't end up just... It's PVC. PVC does that. PVC will sag over time. This arm probably won't, but this definitely will, although this isn't PVC. But he's leaning so far. that's a concern. I guess we'll see over time. I can't judge it right now. As it is right now, if you're a Halo collector, you're probably going to be in for 60 bucks for something like this anyway. So what the heck, get it. It looks good overall. There are definitely a few gripes though. And I don't know, I guess we'll see what other products we get from this thing, this game. But I like it. I'm not going to give it like a rating or anything because it's just a statue. Paint job's good enough. The battle damage is good enough everywhere except the chest. And it's fun. I like it. I personally enjoy it, but since this is a review, I have to point out all those things that are flaws. So let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section below, and we'll talk down there. There it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos almost every single day, and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. In the meantime, keep collecting.